Hey guys, welcome back to the shop. So next up is my top 10 list of my absolute go-to items in the shop that come out on just about every single project. Now I'm going to omit the major power tools because I really think you need a table saw, a joiner, and a planer to produce furniture. So I think that those just kind of go without saying. And I'm going to go to some of the other stuff that tends to get overlooked a lot of times. So number one on my list is good squares. Now this particular one is a Starrett, and it's a really good square, but you don't have to spend that kind of money to get a good square. These are eye gauging, and they're good. They're not nearly as expensive as the Starrett, and they're dead on square. These are actually blems, and they come from Harry Epstein, and I will put a link in the show notes for where I get these blems, and they're at a fraction of the cost of a normal square. And of course Woodpeckers makes good stuff. It's hard to go wrong with the Woodpeckers, but they have a price tag that matches them as well. Now before you run down to the big box store or someplace like that and pick up a square thinking it's square, chances are it's not. So make sure you have one that is known good square to test any others that you pick up and make sure that they are dead on square. Building furniture, it's very important to get things square. So next up on my list is marking utensils. I really like these fine leaded pencils, and there'll be a link in the show notes, and I have an Amazon affiliate as well. Some regular pencils, just pick these up just about anywhere and keep them sharp. A white pencil, I like this for marking on dark woods, and I like both a fine and a fat Sharpie. They both come in handy as well. I use a lot of chalk. I use chalk for a lot of my super rough layouts when I'm breaking down lumber and getting ready to mill. Additionally, don't forget about a pencil sharpener to keep these two in fine working order. So next item up is tape measures, and as you saw in my shop efficiency video, I have these all over the shop. The important thing to consider is each tape measure reads exactly the same. Tape measures have a tendency to be off from one to the next. And every tape measure in my shop, they read identical. So I'm not hauling the same tape measure around every place. Every place has a tape measure, and I know it's accurate to the one I used at the previous place. The next item of importance to me is work holding. And I chose to shoot this video at this location because I have so much work holding ability on, in this case, my outfeed table, but this used to be my primary work location. I have a tail vise, and that works in conjunction with all the dog holes along the way so that I can squeeze material in there and hold work. As well, I can use the hold fasts to secure a piece to the bench. And now that can't go anywhere. I have T-track in the front. If I need to clamp something to the front of this bench, I can do so, as well as clamps. I like parallel clamps, and I have quite a few of them. I'll put a picture of my clamp wall up here. The old adage, you never have enough clamps, is very true. Quick grip clamps, just for holding something very quickly, is super nice. F-style clamps come in extremely handy. Spring clamps, I use these a lot, and even the wood clamps. Now a lot of people think, what are you going to use those wood clamps for? These work phenomenal as a kickstand when you need to hold something up vertical, and then you can take one of these F clamps, clamp it to the bench, and now you can hold that piece vertical to work on it. So the next item up for me is epoxy. Now, although I use West Systems epoxy, and I have a slow and a fast set hardener, as well as some fillers, there's lots of epoxies on the market. Total Boat makes some good stuff. in the end of the day, I'm really after, for the most part with my epoxy, stabilizing knots and things to that nature for milling. Once in a while, if I use them for glue up and I got a couple of joints that don't fit as well as they should, I'll thicken that epoxy up with a little bit of filler just to get better adhesion. I also buy these small Dixie cups and small acid brushes for mixing it up. And both of these are cheap and easy to have on hand. And sometimes I'll add a little bit of trans-tint dye to this if I think it's important that my stabilizing of a knot needs to match the color of the wood that I'm working with. So the next item up on my list is blue painter's tape. I use this stuff constantly on projects. Whether I'm stabilizing knots and I need a stop for the epoxy on the backside of a knot, or whether I want to use the blue tape and CA glue trick for work holding, I use a lot of blue tape in every project, and I keep several rolls of blue painter's tape on hand all the time. Okay, so the next item up for me is dust collection, and I'm going to put several pictures up here. Now I'm running a fairly elaborate Clearview 1800 Cyclone on Nordfab piping with a 7-inch main and 5 horsepower and all that good stuff. That just means that it collects dust pretty well. But I also run a series of vacuums both at my miter saw and my hand tool station, trying to collect dust at the source because I think that that's important. If you can't collect dust at the source, then that respirator becomes your next item. Even breaking down and using a shop vac to collect dust at the source, hey, that is better than no dust collection whatsoever. It also assists a great deal in cleanup at the end of the day because nobody likes to spend their time cleaning the shop, right? So the next item up for me are drills and drivers. I built this station long ago, and I really try hard to stay all in the same battery family. So I only have to have one charger, which really helps things out. I also put all of mine with the backs in, and I leave these loaded up all the time and ready to go. So I'm not loading up a drill to do whatever task it is I have next. Now, a lot of people ask, are you afraid of getting poked by this stuff sticking out? And quite frankly, the easy answer is no, I'm not. When I'm reaching for a drill, even say that sharp drill bit, I just reach in and grab from here, and it's not a big deal. I know that that's loaded up with that drill bit all the time. Same thing with my countersink and my Phillips driver. And those stay loaded up all the time. But my drills are extremely important and come out on every single project. And the next item up for me are these small battery-operated trim routers. Just super easy to operate, and again, I stay in my same battery family as all of my drills. And oftentimes, as I'm working through a project, I will load them up with a particular profile bit, like these are. This is a small roundover and this is a chamfer, but I will leave them set for the duration of the project, and they live in that router till that project is done. Once in a blue moon, I need to do a small mortise or something along those lines, and I have a few of these spiral bits for these 1/4-inch trim routers that I use as well. An important item often overlooked is a material cart such as this one. I don't recall exactly where I got this one. I think it was at Lowe's. But this moves my material all over the shop. It's held up extremely well, and it gets used and abused. In the bottom shelf, I keep my blade cleaning stuff, so if I'm switching to a dado stack in the table saw or whatever, when that blade comes off, I can put it in the blade cleaner and tune that blade up at the same time I'm performing my task at the table saw. But this material handling cart is the cat's meow in my shop. Now I know I said I was going to give you the top 10 list, but today I'm going to give you a bonus one. This is just a small DeWalt leaf blower, again battery operated, so I stay in my battery family, and this comes out constantly just to clear debris and shavings and things away from what I'm working on, as well as, you know, sweep the floor at the end of the day. But this gets used on every single project, and I absolutely love this little leaf blower. All right, guys, so there you go. There's my top 11 list of things that come out on every single project and oftentimes tend to get overlooked a little bit until you need them. I hope you got something out of it. I'd love to see your top 10 list of items that come out on every single project. Leave them for me in the show notes. Hit my forums up and drop your top 10 list in there. That would be awesome to see. But yeah, I hope you got something out of it, guys. And until next time, take care.